What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In this video, we're jumping into X-Men Heir of Apocalypse issue number 4. This is gonna be the final issue. We officially get to see what is going on with Apocalypse, who his heir is going to be, who the one left is going to rule over all of Earth, to pass down the lessons, the one that will hold mutant kind accountable. And out of all of the contestants that we have seen so far, the ones left remaining, Cable, Cypher, Forge, and Mirage. Now we need to find out which one will be the last standing. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we pick up with the remaining contestants. They are currently battling against stoned versions of Apocalypse's children, standing 100 feet tall. While our contestants do everything they can to fight back, they're quickly learning that these things are vastly superior to what they can offer it. This is when all at once, the stone giants smash each of them against a wall, with Apocalypse's decision soon reaching a conclusion. He believes that his heir only needs to accept their role now. As we pick up with Cable in some kind of dreamscape, Apocalypse talks to him. Cable, the man outside of time. In every era, he has stood against Apocalypse. He has lost allies, lovers, flesh of his own blood in his name. And when Krakoa returned, Apocalypse found himself opposed by those that had grown without his guidance. They no longer accepted his principles. He needs somebody to continue the great work. He's gonna need an heir, one who does not hesitate to oppose him in turn. Cable's aim is true and relentless. That is why he selected him to be part of this contest. But Apocalypse wants to know why he chose to accept it, why Cable chose to accept this. And he says it's because he wants every weapon in his arsenal at his disposal. That way he ensures that his future never comes to pass. If that means becoming Apocalypse, then so be it. He tells Cable that his future and his past, they are a never-ending wheel. He is a child of Apocalypse as much as the Summers, or Jing, or even prior. But Cable's is a war that never ends. This is what takes us over to Forge, the great idea smith. Forge can build ways forward that not even Apocalypse could be able to conceive. That's why he came to Forge. And as he shows Forge what is possible, the world that Forge could build given the opportunity, that's why they killed Krakoa, the city of tomorrow. Humankind was never gonna fully accept this. Even if it was a way to solve the housing crisis, the hunger crisis. They were rejected, and the city of tomorrow was never allowed to even become a thing. He truly believes that that city could have changed everything. This is when Apocalypse reminds him of another creation, another idea. This is when he throws him the Neuralizer gun, technology that Forge had developed to depower mutants. Technology humanity may have never discovered had it not been for Forge. And so he's gotta ask Forge to really look deep down inside yourself and ask, did you deserve the world outside that window? And if not, could you? Taking us over to Mirage, Apocalypse kinda tries to get into her head, but he's pretty unsuccessful. Apocalypse recognizes that there is great potential in her, untapped potential. He sees greatness lying dormant right underneath the surface. But Mirage is here just to ensure that somebody bad doesn't get into power. She wants to ensure that some power-hungry immortal doesn't exceed their reach. And this is what brings us to our last contestant, Doug Ramsey, aka Cypher. In his dreamscape, he is brought to Krakoa, to the Quiet Council Chamber. And Apocalypse begins by saying that Xavier and the others, they elected themselves to speak for the island. But Doug was the only one that spoke with the island, his power being an omni-linguist. He can communicate with pretty much anything, but that's really the extent of his powers and abilities. For a while, he had Warlock attached to him, which made him much more formidable, but those days have been long gone. But Doug is the one mutant that really defied the Quiet Council's wishes, one that was so close to their trust. His betrayals went unnoticed. And Doug will even admit to this and say, the Quiet Council, they spoke for Krakoa, but they never listened. Doug did, and Apocalypse recognizes this. He goes on to say that he hasn't. For centuries, he believed that his methods were the only way forward for mutant kind, that he would test their mettle. He would do so in fire and blood. That way, when the enemies came knocking, they were more than prepared. And as Apocalypse talks, this is when we see the Sentinels coming in for Doug, tears streaming down his face, absolutely petrified, not wanting to be taken away from Krakoa again, left there in nothing but ashes. Apocalypse believes that maybe he needs an heir whose weapon is his words, whose tongue knows diplomacy and delicate lies. Doug was one of the first mutants to ever walk on Krakoa. He spent a year living on the island all alone. He developed their way of life. He believes that they never should have had to give that up. Apocalypse recognizing how much Doug has lost, but tells him death can be a passage towards rebirth. As we pick up in Arakko, we pick up with Wolverine and Richter, the two of them conversating about what Apocalypse did, how none of them are actually dead, they all got teleported here, and now they're all waiting for the final contestant. Archangel being the one to set them free when Apocalypse wasn't going to. But as the two of them have their conversation, we have the arrival of Cable and Forge, two contestants knocked out of the fight. And with their arrival, we have everyone sitting around waiting to see who the next one comes in. Who is the last contestant to be taken off the board before we find our Heir of Apocalypse? As they stand around the teleport table, this is when we have the flashing arrival of Mirage. The last contestant standing is Doug Ramsey, taking us over to Egypt. We have Bay the Blood Moon, the wife to Doug. We have Warlock, once integrated together, and we have Apocalypse. He says that the process has finished. He tells Doug to rise and meet his new disciples. And behold the heir. Standing before us is the Heir of Apocalypse, now known as Revelation. He tells Apocalypse that he is not going to shepherd as he has, with force and might, that new mutant leaders are going to rise from the ashes of Krakoa. He will listen to them, he will learn from them, and he will do what he should have done to save their way of life before the fall. He will be their revelation. He will reveal to them the heir of their ways. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. So it is Doug freaking Ramsey. Out of all the individuals, I really didn't see it being him. And after going through this, I don't think Apocalypse ever really cared about any of the other individuals. I think he put this whole trial together, all so Cypher would show up to it. He would be a part of it, and inevitably be the heir of Apocalypse. It was a matter of Cypher simply accepting his fate. And who can blame him? After everything that he went through, after everything that he endured, after everything that he had lost, Doug wanted to ensure that this loss would never happen again, to ensure that mutant kind would always be prepared. And I don't really know what Apocalypse just did to him, but I think it's safe to say that he's no longer just an omnilinguist. Cypher has gotten, or Revelation has gotten, a significant upgrade. What powers that is and to what extent that is, we've yet to fully find out. But I am 100% here for it. I'm excited to see his upgrade. Maybe he's gonna be an Omega level, who knows? Being powered up by Apocalypse and being the heir of Apocalypse, we can only assume that Apocalypse really took him to a whole other level. I really didn't think it was gonna be Doug. As I started to go through the comics, by the time you get to 2 or 3, you kind of get the feeling that maybe it might be Doug, but no, that would be crazy, right? Nope, definitely not crazy. That's the direction they went with it. Because at the end of the day, what were you gonna do with Cypher? There really wasn't much you could do with him. Having a glorified translator around's great and all, but it makes for a boring story. he would always be a side character. And in this, he's becoming the heel. He's becoming the big bad for the X-Men. We have seen Cypher taken from a guy who is able to communicate with everybody to the next big villain that the X-Men are gonna have to face against. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your theories. If you want to get caught up on everything that is going on with this issue, go ahead, check out the link in my description, as well as the top of this video. It'll get you completely caught up on everything that has been going on with the Heir of Apocalypse. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. Much like Patreon, having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to comics every single month. Not only are you helping out the channel tremendously, but you are getting tons of perks in the process. Now, if you're unable to do this, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.